Before going any further, consider one question. When people watch Jimin on stage, standing beneath bright lights and moving through a performance with remarkable grace, what are they actually witnessing? Many casual viewers see someone who appears effortless. They see a performer who seems naturally destined for the spotlight. Every motion looks smooth. Every transition appears automatic. It can easily create the impression that success arrived naturally, as if performing at this level has always been second nature to him. But the accounts from those who have worked beside him tell a completely different story. The individuals who shared rehearsal spaces, recording studios, film sets, and training rooms with Jimin describe something far beyond natural ability. Their stories point toward extraordinary commitment, strict self-discipline, and an intensity that even experienced professionals struggle to comprehend. As Jimin resumes rigorous dance preparation ahead of the ongoing Arirang World Tour, new footage and behind-the-scenes accounts have once again brought attention to a truth long recognized by ARMY but often overlooked by the wider public. Park Jimin is not simply gifted. According to the people who have trained, coached, and collaborated with him, he is consistently the hardest working person present. Their testimonies continue to reinforce that conclusion. To understand why, the story must return to the beginning. It does not begin with Arirang. It does not begin with Muse. It does not begin with Face. The journey traces back to a training room at Big Hit Entertainment in 2012. A teenager from Busan entered that environment and began a year that would fundamentally change his life. HYBE later released a 5-part series called HYBE T&D Stories. The program explored the pre-debut journey of BTS member Park Jimin through the perspectives of HYBE's training and development staff. Among those featured was Shin Seon-jung, the head of the T&D team, who revealed several details about working with the young trainee. In the series, she reflected on her experiences guiding Park Jimin before BTS officially debuted. Her comments left a lasting impression on many viewers. A vocal coach from the T&D department recalled how intensely Jimin pushed himself during the period leading up to BTS's debut in 2013. Despite the strain he placed on himself, the coach stated that Jimin remained the strongest trainee among the group. She explained that his dedication reached such an extreme level that members of the T&D staff considered it almost inhumane. According to her, many trainees worked hard. Jimin stood apart. She described him as the best among them by a significant margin. Then came an observation that deeply affected many listeners. She explained that Jimin was so demanding of himself that the staff felt his self-imposed pressure had become excessive. Think about what that means. The professionals whose responsibility was to challenge trainees beyond their comfort zones looked at Jimin's own standards and felt he was going too far. The pressure was not coming from them, it came from him. As a result, the team felt the need to care for him and monitor his well-being. That is not merely a story about talent. Talent may be something a person receives naturally. What Shin Seon-jung described was something else entirely. It was determination. It was a conscious choice. It was a force that originated from within Jimin himself. No instructor created it. No training system installed it. The relentless hunger and demanding expectations he placed upon himself already existed when he first arrived. Another important perspective came from RM. As BTS's leader and one of the people most familiar with the group's history, he offered a statement during the same HYBE T&D Stories series that has remained memorable for many fans. Namjoon expressed appreciation to Shin Seon-jung for helping ensure that Jimin remained with the group during the trainee period leading up to BTS's 2013 debut. He explained that keeping Jimin in BTS had been critically important. According to him, losing Jimin at that stage would have had devastating consequences. RM stated that Shin Seon-jung was one of 2 guardian angels who helped keep Jimin within the group during that period. He further explained that protecting Jimin's place in BTS was, in many ways, equivalent to protecting BTS itself. Without Jimin, he said, the outcome would have been a disaster. Those words carried enormous weight. They came from the leader of BTS. They came from someone who witnessed every stage of the group's evolution, from 7 young artists at a small company to a globally recognized phenomenon acknowledged by Guinness. And his message was unmistakable. He was not simply saying that Jimin possessed talent. He was not merely offering praise. He was stating that Jimin's presence was essential during the group's fragile early years. The alternative, in his view, would have been disastrous. That statement stands not as a compliment, but as first-hand testimony from someone who lived through those moments. The commitment that defined Jimin during his trainee years did not end after debut. It did not slow down once BTS entered the spotlight. It did not fade as the group gained worldwide recognition. Those who have worked closely with Park Jimin continue to describe the same pattern. No matter what he achieves, he never becomes satisfied with previous accomplishments. Shin Seon-jung, head of the T&D team, revealed that Jimin originally carried a dance style built on fluidity. While that approach suited his background as a dancer, adjustments became necessary after entering the world of pop performance. Many routines required explosive force and stronger physical expression. She explained that one of the most remarkable things about Jimin was that he had already been trained as a dancer before joining the company. Because of that background, he naturally moved with smoothness and elegance. However, as a pop artist, he needed to transform that habit since numerous choreographic elements demanded power. The challenge was clear. That established movement pattern had to be rebuilt. Shin Seon-jung went on to explain that the team assigned him a specific task related to dance technique and movement execution. His progress would be evaluated 1 month later. What happened next surprised everyone involved. When the assessment arrived, the singer of Like Crazy demonstrated dramatic advancement. Only 1 month had passed. The assignment involved correcting a deeply rooted physical habit developed through years of previous training. Such changes normally require much longer periods to absorb and apply. The body naturally returns to familiar patterns. Existing neural pathways encourage repetition of what has already been learned. Yet 1 month later, Jimin returned with significant improvement. That result reflected why he was regarded as the strongest trainee. It was not simply effort. It was focused effort. It was purposeful effort. It was the ability to transform feedback into measurable results faster than people anticipated. Years later, in 2024, the circumstances were completely different. Jimin was no longer a trainee. He had become one of the most recognized artists in the world. His first solo album, Face, had reached the top of the Billboard Hot 100. His name had become associated internationally with artistic achievement. At the same time, he was preparing his second solo album, Muse. The question naturally followed. Would he reduce the intensity? Would he allow others to carry more responsibility now that his position was secure? Would he become comfortable with what he had already accomplished? Accounts from the people around him suggest otherwise. Hybe producers P-Dog and GHS Loop, who participated in both solo projects, spoke about Jimin's work habits during the creation of Muse. They recalled that he continued practicing and recording until the moment he entered military service. P-Dog stated that for a producer, there is nothing more valuable than an artist who works hard. The timeline is important. Jimin continued refining material until the final possible stage before enlistment. He kept recording, he kept making adjustments, he kept pursuing the version he envisioned. The process did not stop when the album was complete. It did not stop when deadlines arrived. It ended only when military duty physically prevented him from continuing. That is not the behavior of someone relying on past achievements. It is the behavior of someone approaching every project with urgency. Even after reaching a level of success that many artists spend entire careers pursuing, he continued working as though he still had everything to prove. Additional insight came from HYBE performance director Kim Min-seong. As someone directly involved in choreography and visual production for BTS projects, his observations added another perspective. Kim Min-seong explained that the performance concept for the title track, Who, centered on presenting a more charismatic and masculine image of Jimin, this approach was intentionally different from the performance style associated with Face. After the choreography was completed, Jimin expressed complete satisfaction because the performance contained all the elements he had hoped to include. Kim Min-seong noted that Jimin's attention to detail and dedication surprised the entire team. He described that observation as only a small example of the amount of effort and affection Jimin invested in the album. The statement came from a professional who regularly collaborates with BTS, someone familiar with Jimin's standards, someone who already understood what he typically brought to a project. Yet even with that experience, Jimin still exceeded expectations. Those around him remained surprised by the level of commitment he demonstrated. That pattern continued repeatedly. He was not simply fulfilling expectations, he consistently operated beyond them. The next example emerged from an entirely different environment. Not a recording studio, not a rehearsal hall, not a performance stage. The setting was the Korean Army. There, rehearsal schedules were replaced by morning drills and physical evaluations. Even in that environment, the same reputation followed him. In January 2024, Jimin completed 5 weeks of basic training. The commander of his division selected him as the top trainee in the unit. He received the honor of exemplary along with official commendation. The recognition was familiar. More than a decade earlier, HYBE's T&D team had regarded him as the strongest trainee. Now, in a completely different field with entirely different evaluation criteria, a military commander reached a similar conclusion. He was recognized once again as the best trainee. This time, the assessment came from the military rather than the entertainment industry. The person making that judgment had no special reason to favor a K-pop idol, yet the result was the same. Supporters were even more impressed after learning what was required to earn that military distinction. The evaluations used by the military are demanding. They measure physical condition, discipline, ability to follow instructions, behavior under pressure, and performance during stressful situations. These were not the abilities Park Jimin had spent his professional life developing. The environment was entirely different. The expectations were entirely different. Yet he still emerged as the top trainee in his unit, a recognition formally granted by his commanding officer. The result was difficult to dismiss. It was not chance. It was not circumstance. Instead, it reflected a consistent pattern that appears throughout every stage of Park Jimin's life. No matter where he is placed, no matter what challenges are presented, and regardless of which skills are being evaluated, he commits completely, works without holding back, and rises to the highest level. That determination remains present even when cameras disappear. The discipline remains when the entertainment industry is not observing. It is not something performed for public attention. It is simply part of who he is. Now he has returned. The Arirang World Tour is taking place across 85 dates in 23 countries, and Jimin has once again immersed himself in dance practice with the same intensity that has defined his entire career. When BTS appeared on stage in Las Vegas during the Arirang World Tour, one of the most memorable moments arrived during the Arirang sample. The audience joined together in singing the traditional folk song sample with remarkable clarity and emotion. At the same time, the large screens displayed images of army members dressed in hanbok. The BTS members responded with visible pride. Jin and Jimin, in particular, appeared deeply moved. Their eyes reflected powerful emotion, and their expressions revealed genuine happiness. The feelings visible on Jimin's face during performances are not manufactured. They are not created for cameras. They come naturally from someone who has invested everything into preparation and rehearsal, then finally arrives at the moment where all of that effort finds its purpose. When countless hours are spent working behind closed doors, the stage becomes something meaningful. The performance becomes the answer to every challenge encountered during training. Another image has continued circulating among fans. It shows Jimin inside a studio, captured in the middle of movement, while coaches nearby watch with unmistakable amazement. That image reflects something many people who have trained alongside him have tried to describe. There is something about Jimin's approach to work that affects those who witness it. The reaction goes beyond admiration. It becomes something deeper. People do not simply conclude that he is talented. They often feel they are watching something rarely encountered. One observer explained it in a simple way. Jimin approaches each rehearsal as if he still needs to prove himself, as if his goal remains unfinished, as if none of the awards, records, or worldwide recognition have changed the mindset he carried as a teenager from Busan before his debut. That relentless drive remains. His inability to become comfortable with success remains. The constant pursuit of something just beyond his current reach remains. That quality is what others struggle to match, not because they lack effort, but because the motivation within Jimin exists at a depth that training cannot create and experience cannot weaken. There is one final detail that brings these stories together. It comes from Jimin's own words. In 2018, he wrote and released Promise as a late Christmas gift for ARMY. The song has since surpassed 400 million streams on SoundCloud. Within its lyrics, he wrote, "I want to be honest with myself, to not be ashamed of who I am, to be able to love myself." The song was written and composed entirely by Jimin. It arrived without major promotion. It was offered freely as a gift. Within hours of release, it became one of the most streamed tracks in SoundCloud history. The impact did not come from commercial ambition. It came from sincerity. The same person who pushed himself so intensely that trainers worried about him directed that same intensity inward. The same determination, the same demand for honesty, the same refusal to settle. The result was something genuine. His commitment extends beyond technique. It reaches toward authenticity itself, toward expressing something real, toward never offering less than everything he can give. Because of that, the outcome remains consistent regardless of circumstance. Whether he is inside a dance studio in Seoul while coaches watch in disbelief, whether he is serving in a military unit under evaluation from a commander with no connection to his celebrity status, or whether he is standing on a stage in Las Vegas before 70,000 people, the result remains unchanged. Extraordinary, difficult to equal, Park Jimin. As this chapter closes, one conclusion remains clear. Every appearance on stage is supported by years of effort hidden from public view. Nothing about the journey was effortless. The reality was the opposite. It was built through years of choosing, day after day, to work harder than anyone else in the room. If this story gave you a deeper understanding of Park Jimin's journey, share your thoughts and continue following for more stories exploring the people, moments, and achievements that shape today's global cultural landscape.